Great. Ramon, let's get on to the phone lines because we've been joined by Togbe Korsi Nego VI, who is regent of Mepe, and Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, as Member of Parliament for North Tongu. Both have joined us on the phone. Good morning, Togbe, and good morning, Honorable Ablakwa.
Good morning.
Great. Let me start off with you, Togbe. Can you tell us, today, what the status of residents of the affected communities are, particularly Mepe, where you are regent?
Well, thank you, and I would like to extend my greetings to your listeners. And I want to make some correction. I am Mepe-Manklalo of Korsi Nego VI, the Mepe-Manklalo of Mepe traditional area.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yes. The life of my people, have gone from bad to worse. It has gone from bad to worse, and we have to create camps for our people in order to allow school children to have access back to their schools. So, as I speak, people are still sleeping in their tents, and whenever it rains, they have to hang somewhere. They have to stand and wait for the rain to stop and the grounds to dry before they can get access back to their tents. Life is very, very, very difficult for my people. And you know how it feels, sleeping, losing your house, and you have to be sleeping in tents. It's not easy. And now the rainy season has started, and we don't know how they are going to cope. It's really difficult. Anytime it starts to rain, then we feel very, very, very bad for them. And some of our people who were displaced and moved out of the town, they have not been able to return back home. Some of them have traveled to the neighboring towns, and they have still not come back because there's no house for them to return to.
Okay.
And it's really difficult for those who have lost their livelihoods. The farmers are crying. They have to start preparing their lands, plowing their lands, and start farming. But there's nothing for them. And it's really, really difficult for them.
Okay.
It seems that we have been forgotten. That is the state. It has gone really well.
Let me bring in Honorable Ablakwa because you are a member of parliament for the area. Now, last year during the budget readings, over 200 million Ghana cedis was allocated to the affected communities. The plan was to resettle or probably rebuild these communities. So for those who are, displaced, houses be built for them, even by the state. What's happened?
Well, good morning, Winston. Good morning to our revered Mepe-Manklalo of Mepe. Good morning to all our listeners. Let me confirm what the respected Mepe-Manklalo has said. We are still waiting on government to commence construction of resettlement homes. You are right that the 2024 budget has an allocation to take care of resettlement, the first phase of resettlement, as the then finance minister put it. We also will recall that the president, in delivering his Independence Day address on the 6th of March, had indicated that 80 million cedis has so far been spent. We, following that statement by the president, filed urgent questions in Parliament for the Works and Housing Minister, the Honorable Kojo Ponkroma, to respond to. Unfortunately, the minister could not give us clarity on what that 80 million cedis has been used for and when the reconstruction will commence. So as we speak, it is the individual efforts, the mobilization that I spearheaded that led to the construction of 2 resettlement edifices in Mepe and in Aveime, housing 600 people. That is what has brought some respite to some of the displaced people. We also are on a 3rd project that we have rolled out in the Okudzeto community to also take care of those on that corridor. We have just gone past the foundation level, again being spearheaded by the MP and partners, benevolent Ghanaians, NGOs, organizations, individuals, and associations who are coming to our aid. But in terms of the obligation of government to resettle and compensate the victims of the VRA spillage from the Akosombo Dam, we are yet to really feel and see the response of government.
Just by way of clarification, how many people currently need to be resettled or need accommodation?
There are at least 2,000 people who are still living in tents. If you come to Mepe Degome, you see thousands living in tents. If you come to Okudzeto, you see at least 700 people who are living in tents and in classrooms. The Okudzeto basic school has still not been released for students to return to school. And then if you go to Alabonu across the river, you would also see people living in makeshift structures. There are others who we have been able to make arrangements to relocate from the tents to homes that were salvaged. But the issue is really that, remember that according to NADMO, we have more than 12,000 displaced people in North Tongu alone. Across the country, 36,000. But in North Tongu alone, we're talking about 12,000 people. So even though our housing projects have housed 600 people so far, that really cannot take care of the numbers. Yes, we prioritize the most vulnerable, the single mothers, the physically challenged, and the aged. That is what my office decided to do, to prioritize those who are really in need of urgent assistance and will not survive in these tents. But the fact is that we really need the government to prioritize the plight of our people. We are all citizens. The government owes us a duty of care. I have been asking if this was a by-election scenario, in probably a swing constituency where the government stands a chance of winning, will this be the approach? I mean, I have over the weekend published the list of projects in the Ejisu constituency. Just within these few weeks, new projects that have started. When we see these things, we are not convinced that government is not coming to our aid because they lack resources or they don't have the funds. Because we have seen government mobilize resources, put together new projects, get contractors on site within days, in record time, when they have an interest, when probably they have a by-election to win. So why are they treating fellow Ghanaians this way? Ghanaians who, no fault of theirs, I mean, they did nothing to deserve this disaster. They have sacrificed for decades, so all of us will have electricity. Some of them even were not fully compensated when they have to give up their land for the construction of the dam. And yet, after taking them by surprise, opening the floodgates of Akosombo and Bond dams and causing this untold havoc, disaster that has led to humanitarian crisis, we are being treated this way. It is most unfair. It's most unfair. And that is why we commend Joy FM for your documentary and your continuous interest in our plight, because it's as though we have been forgotten. It's as though we are not part of Ghana. It's really, really sad.
Let me bring in Togbe at this point, because Togbe Nego, there was a talk about validation. In fact, when the minister was in Parliament in March, he says, they were doing some validation. Did the validation start in March? Has it been done, Togbe?
Before I answer that question, I want to use this opportunity to commend our hardworking MP and partners for coming to our aid. They have been able to reduce the number of people who were at the tents. And also, I want to use this opportunity to thank Ghanaians and the other media houses for the love they showed us throughout the flood. We had some visitors last Friday from the housing ministry. They visited us that they come to revalidate their data. So they spent 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday, going around taking records of the collapsed houses. So they said they are using 10 days for that exercise. So it is after that validation that we'll wait and see what happens. But I must say that there has not been any lack of information from the government. We just sit down and then they just come and dump things on us. We heard that Inter-Ministerial Committee was formed. And we have been waiting for the Inter-Ministerial Committee to engage us, listen to us, know some of our challenges. Without coming to us, I don't know if they are going to address all our challenges for us.
No, Togbe, hold on a minute. Are you saying that the Inter-Ministerial Committee, apart from the time the president visited, has never visited your community?
No, we have never had any engagement with the Inter-Ministerial Committee.
I see.
And I don't know how long it will take for them to visit us and sit with us. All we want.
Wow. Honorable Ablakwa, we were told that there were going to be, settlements built in 5 communities. So there'll be one in Mepe, Bato, New Bakba, then also Adidome and one of the Mafi towns. So far, the president said 80 million Ghana cedis has been spent. Is there anything to show in these communities?
No, there is no evidence of that 80 million cedis. Indeed, if you follow the parliamentary question time, my colleagues and I demanded from the Works and Housing Minister a breakdown of that 80 million, what exactly it has been used for. The minister clearly could not provide the breakdown and said that he would let us have that later. In his response, it was not even clear whether they were now going to spend or they have already utilized. It was, swinging like a pendulum in between going to be used, having been utilized. He left us in a state of haziness. There was no clarity on the matter. And that is why when you come to the ground, you come to our constituencies, you would not see evidence of any construction, any resettlement, or compensation for that matter. I do not know of a single victim who has been compensated. So government has to really come clean and tell us exactly what is going on. All of these fantastic sums we are hearing, where are the monies going to? What are they being used for? Maybe some preparatory work outside the constituency. They should let us know. They should let us, and we have done what we have to do by engaging the ministers. We have raised the issues on the floor. I have delivered at least 3 statements on this matter. I have filed questions to various ministers, Works and Housing, Finance, Agric. So what is required of us, we are doing that. I am, at this point, not even clear in my mind if the Inter-Ministerial Committee is still working. I don't know if it has been dissolved or it is a committee that remains active, because we have not been engaged. We keep requesting meetings that at least even allow us the opportunity to submit data to you. We have data on all those affected farmers, those who have lost property. This validation that the Works and Housing Ministry has now, a few days ago, sent officials to carry out could have been done long ago. Working with NADMO and assembly members, we have put the data together. If there is real commitment, we would have, provided this data, and you will know how many people have been affected. Okay. NADMO has the number. NADMO is aware of where everybody can be located, where the people are, what has been lost. Our chiefs have the data. The MP's office, we also have it. The DCs have it. So one wonders what is going on. Okay. Simple things are being made to look so complex. And after all these months, so it's been more than 7 months. You ask that if Ghanaians had not come to our aid, if I hadn't set up this Accountability Elders Council, open an account for all the donations to go into, an account I'm not signatory to, and we mobilize those resources to build these houses. It means that after all these months, 7 months and counting, our people will still be living in tents and in congested classrooms. We can't do this to citizens. Okay. We cannot.
Finally on this bit. So we're told also that for those farmers who are displaced, some monies were going to be available, some $42 million or so. Have they also received these monies?
So, on the part of the farmers, the only communication I have received is from the Honorable Agric Minister, the Honorable Brad Champo, who reached out to me last week that they now have mobilized some fertilizers. He didn't talk about money. He said fertilizers for affected farmers, and that I should submit the data of affected farmers to his office, which I have promptly done. So I'm waiting for the ceremony. The Honorable Minister says that he is hoping that in the coming days, he will come to the constituency and hand over the fertilizers. But in terms of the earlier promise he made about some World Bank support in excess of $40 million, he has not provided any update, and nobody, no farmer has benefited from those monies he talked about. What I can speak to truthfully is this new package his ministry is working on for farmers, affected farmers. And he told us specifically that it will be in the area of fertilizers to help affected farmers to go back. But you see, I am hoping that it will not just be a fertilizer support, because if their current conditions are not worked on, our farmers are living in tents. They have their farms submerged. It's just now that the water has receded. There will be the need for some soil testing. Can they return to those same lands? What about compensation? They invested so much in what they planted: rice, pepper, maize, and the rest, vegetables and others. Now, Are you just going to give them fertilizers and say that, look, forget about all your losses? We haven't even checked the land, whether it will work after all of the submersion, the contamination, because remember that they were submerged under heavily contaminated water, as confirmed by Ghana Water and the Ghana Health Service. Are we not going to do any soil tests to be sure that it is even safe to go plant and return to those same farmlands? So a lot of the work that has to be done has not been done, is not going on. And one really wonders, where is commitment? Where is our duty, our obligation, our constitutional mandate to the people we represent, who have elected us, giving us a mandate to serve them? To be honest, so far the response falls short of what is acceptable and what is commendable.
Well, we're still going to be following up on this particular issue. At the end of it all, we want to ensure that the good people of Mepe and other areas that were affected are resettled and compensated. But thank you very much, Honorable Okudzeto Ablakwa, a Member of Parliament for North Tongu, for joining us. And thank you also, the Mepe-Manklalo of Mepe, Togbe Korsi Nego VI. We're grateful that you made time to join us. We'll be with you throughout in making sure that you get everything that you must get.